So hi, it's me, Bradford Ferguson. I'm here today with Alexandra Mers, otherwise known as Tesla Boomer Mama. And the reason I have Alexandra on this video is I'm going to be sharing a really impactful, important story for myself, a product that has really helped me out. And Alexandra asked really good questions, and I wanted Alexander here to help like bring the information out of me and that kind of thing. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Alexandra.
Sure. So, yeah, you're right. Most people know me under Tesla Boomer Mama, and they have the feeling I'm on Twitter all day, which is not true, but there I am. But I'm very outspoken about it. And it is true. You shared two pictures of you a year ago and now, and I was like, Bradford, what's that? How did you lose all this weight? And that's how we got talking.
Yeah. So I'll share with you. I'm down 50 pounds in 10 months, which is pretty good. And what I'm going to share with you is not medical advice. And so if you have questions, go talk with your doctor. I am a financial advisor, but this is not financial advice. We may talk about Lilly stock later on. They're the ones with the product that we'll be talking about later on. And if I can close this tab, we don't want to see that. This is kind of the teaser that got people's curiosity going. The picture on the left is me a year ago, and the picture on the right is me today, at the same location at Disney's Riviera in Orlando. So you could see on the left like how bloated my face is. I've definitely lost quite a bit of weight. I'm going to stop the share, and I'm going to say how this all came about. Was I have a doctor that's a general practitioner, family doctor. It's very different in that she'll take time with her patients. It's usually like at least 15 minutes. And there were times when I'd meet with her and it'd be an hour. And just a doctor that really cares about patients and was really trying to find a way to help me lose weight and get on track. So like the first medicine that she tried with me was like kind of like an amphetamine where it gets your heart going. And it just like I'm in finance, so I don't need to be more jumpy or stressed out. Like money can be stressful, and helping clients through the ups and downs, that can be stressful. So that didn't work. And then the next medication that I tried, it doped me up a bit, made me a little kind of groggy or dizzy, but also made my salivary glands overactive. So the effect it had on you was it made you less hungry. But that also raised blood pressure. And when I started taking that, that's around the time that my dad died. And if you have someone really close to you who dies, you can be in a fog just from that, and it can raise your blood pressure. There's physiological effects from it. I know.
So it amplified, yeah.
Yeah. So that was too much. And eventually, my doctor got me started on a drug called Wegovy. And this was in November of last year. What's interesting about Wegovy is Elon Musk said around April of this year, 2022, that he was taking that to
Was it already in April? Wasn't it after his summer vacation in Greece when the picture was a bit chubby, and then he said now he's gonna look after himself? I think it was rather
you might
late.
Be right. Maybe it's a little
late
later
summer.
than that. So what Wegovy does, and there's also a drug called Ozempic, and maybe Trulicity does some of this too, is it slows down your stomach. It kind of this sounds a little scary. It makes your pancreas a little overactive, so it releases more bile into your stomach, and it forces you to eat less. So essentially, like almost immediately, within like a few days, when I would eat, I could only eat half of what I used to.
Because you felt full, right? Because the stomach couldn't take more. Was that the effect?
The effect when you're eating, it's more like you start to burp or get like an acid
Mhm.
reflux.
That's
Um,
gonna be elegant for me. We should ask in a tweet to Elon whether he's burping now.
yeah. So you learn to eat a little slower so that it and it's only a little bit when it happens. But then you really can't eat anymore. So what you end up doing is you eat more often and you eat less each time. Um, and then I added exercise, things like that. And then my doctor came to me. This is about 3 months ago, and said that Lilly has this drug called Mounjaro, which it affects two different receptors in the body, whereas Wegovy and the others affect one receptor. Um, and the one with Lilly also affects the liver and how the liver processes sugar. Um, and that people who took Mounjaro in the scientific test and the trial, they lost twice the amount of weight that people on Wegovy did. It's pretty
Mhm.
significant.
Mhm.
Um, so maybe I should.
Was that your case as well? Did you feel that changing the medication accelerated the weight loss?
It maintains. So normally with a weight loss, you'll have some kind of plateau.
Yeah.
And maybe I just started it at the right time. But when I met with my doctor and we looked at the weight chart, it was basically like a straight line going
Wow, good.
down. So it's the other. I did notice that even when I was on Wegovy, that when I would have carbs, and this is just something for me, maybe it's similar for other people. When I have carbs, sometimes it makes me hungrier, which is really weird.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
eating food should not make you hungrier, but like
No.
carbs would trigger me. And with my experience with Mounjaro is carbs wouldn't trigger me anymore. So I'm not here to sell Mounjaro. I'm just here to share the story, so people can look at it for themselves. There are side effects. So you can have constipation, diarrhea. If you eat after 7 p.m. at night, you can have acid reflux pretty bad, and can really affect your sleep. Like you almost need to elevate yourself to sleep.
Hmm.
The acid reflux can be bad. It can cause nausea. Um, I've known some people on Wegovy who threw up in the morning sometimes.
Did
Um,
you have any of the side effects on either of the two?
Constipation, diarrhea, acid reflux. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so
And
and
and how did you address them? Did you change the food you were eating? Did you change the food you were eating overall, or did you just reduce the quantities?
reduce quantities mainly. So I still have fun things to eat. Like I'll still have I've had some Halloween candy. But what I do try and do is just have more protein. My doctor
Mhm.
wants me to follow more of what's called a Mediterranean diet. So
Mhm.
heavier in like fruits, vegetables, proteins, healthy fats, that kind of thing. Um, so there's certain foods that can trigger acid reflux, like citrus, tomatoes,
Mhm.
soda, alcohol. I really can't drink a whole lot anymore. So
And
that's
were you able to drink more before? Is there a real difference? Do you feel that
I
you had?
was somewhat of a lightweight before, but usually I could easily do like 2 drinks, and now I'm
Mm.
lucky if I can finish one drink.
Okay.
Yeah, so it definitely slows you down. And for me, that's a good thing because I don't tend to make good decisions when I'm drinking. I'll tend to eat more, for example.
And do you still have sugar cravings? You know, do you, for example, me, when I eat sugar, 24 hours later, I have the next sugar craving, right? There is something very regular to it. Do you still have that sort of cravings, or is that completely gone?
Occasionally, I don't feel it as much with Mounjaro. I would, when I was on Wegovy, I would get ice cream every now and then, that kind of thing, and maybe have a Pop-Tart, some things high in sugar. Um, but I don't feel it as much with Mounjaro. I don't know if that's an effect of the drug or if it's just because it's but it does affect the liver, and I'm guessing the liver triggers some of that. How it's metabolized in the body.
You said with the first medication you had more occasions to eat, but smaller portions. Now that you're on Mounjaro, did you get back to less occasions to eat, but normal ratios again, or is it still that you're eating more often during the day?
It's very similar. So you more often, but less. Yeah. So that's been the amazing thing to me, is that it's a very similar experience, but it's just much more effective. Um, let's maybe could we go to the science for a little bit?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
Try to make it understandable to me, right? So go really easy.
All right, we'll get another look at me first. So let me close that. So the drug study was a double-blind drug study, 2,500 randomized participants from the US, South America, China, India, Japan, Mexico, Russia, Taiwan. The mean baseline body weight of 231 pounds. All those who got the regular drug started on the minimum dose, and then some people ended up stopping at 5 milligrams, some at 10, some at 15.
And
So
can I ask you at what level are you now after 3 months?
I'm at 15.
Okay. And you started with 2.5 as well?
No, because I came from Wegovy, I think
Okay.
I started at 5 or 7.5.
Mhm.
And it's been
Yes.
maybe 3.5 months or maybe 4 months. So the weight loss for people that were able to stay on the 15 milligrams, the average weight loss, I think, was 52 pounds,
Wow.
which is pretty amazing.
Significant, yeah.
Yeah, and this was over 72 weeks. The placebo people only lost 1.3% of their body weight.
That's
Um,
me.
more than half of the participants taking the higher dose lost 20% of their body weight. It doesn't work for everyone, and one of the side effects I didn't mention that I should is you can have a acute appendicitis, or pancreatitis. So pain in your pancreas can be really brutal. But luckily I didn't have that. I think that's in less than 1%. And I believe it's unknown whether there's an increased risk of pancreatic cancer. So there were some other benefits in that 95% of the participants with pre-diabetes, they were able to reach normal blood sugar levels. So this is already approved for treating type 2 diabetes. It just decreases in waist circumference, big decrease in total fat mass. There's something called A1C, and that's a test where it's your risk for diabetes. And this significantly reduced those A1C levels.
So did you do blood work, and do you see already the improvement in your blood work?
I did. I saw a little bit, but not a ton.
Okay.
Not a ton of improvement. I'm on the high side. I mean, I'm like I'm the high side of normal for cholesterol, and I think on the high side of normal for triglycerides.
Mm-hmm.
There's a chance that Mounjaro can cause low blood sugar, but they said it was very minimal compared to taking insulin. Um, what they found in general is that it reduced total cholesterol and triglycerides, lowered the bad cholesterol, and raised the good cholesterol.
Oh,
So that's pretty substantial.
it is,
It's
right?
almost like a
Sounds
dream.
like a miracle. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a dream.
Mm.
Um, so I'm going to stop sharing there, and people can go online to research it more. Lilly has a website for Mounjaro, and you can search for it. Some of the articles are a little older, so they don't have as much, that kind of thing. Um, yeah, it's been pretty life-changing for me. I'm beginning to finally notice more energy. I've been working out. I do these workouts now at Orange Theory Fitness, which are like these 55-minute workouts where it's high intensity interval training with rowing, treadmill, and weights. Um,
Which
I
initially you did nothing of that, right? You just said,
I
I need to lose weight, and you didn't do any sport at that moment.
I was doing weight training for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I was able to add to I tried out Orange Theory, and I found out I was able to tolerate the workout a little better than doing weights actually. So I've been doing Orange Theory for, I don't know, maybe 2.5 months or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so I'm finding that it's working. And the other thing it's helped me do, like I said, is if you eat after 7 p.m., you're going to get pretty bad acid reflux. But that was like one of my weaknesses, was
Mm-hmm.
I would eat after the kids would go to bed.
Mm.
And maybe sometimes after my wife went to bed. And a lot of eating I do was because of stress, or just to like regulate my emotions. I'd be happy, and I would eat to like calm down for
Mm.
bedtime, or eat
Yeah.
because I was depressed, or eat because I was stressed, or eat because I was
Always a good
bored.
moment. But did the family do it at the same time than you, or were you the only member of your family who did it?
I can't comment on
Okay, but
that.
would it disrupt a normal family life that somebody uses this, or can you just have all the normal food with the rest of the family? That's actually more my question than
Yeah,
whether other.
you can do normal food, and I'll often split meals with people. I should mention that the drug is from an injectable,
Yes.
and it's what they call an auto injectable. So you put it near your belly button, like a couple inches from your belly button, and you can do it above or below, left or right or diagonal, whatever. And you essentially take off the safety, and you put it there, and then you might twist something, and then you press a button, and then it does the injection. You hold it in
So it's
place.
a needle, it's a needle going into your belly,
Yeah,
injecting and you do that once a week, right?
yeah, once a week, and you're supposed to do it at the same time, same day. Um, Sometimes I would forget, and then I would do it the next day at the same time, and
Okay.
it was still effective for me.
And do you feel that, let's say, the fifth day is less effective than the first? Is there some letdown during the 7 days, or is it just stable, smooth sailing until the seventh day you do it again?
It um It depends. I think sometimes when you're ramping up on the medication, you notice a variance in the days. So when you're ramping up in the dose, um, but it was noticeable once I started, pretty much like within, I'd say 48 hours when I first started last December. Um, but you notice somewhat, but sometimes I'd feel less of an urge to eat closer to the time I'd be due for another shot. I don't know why, but it's kind of amazing how these medicines work. Like it persists in your body for 7 days.
So
Yeah.
you go to the doctor and he or she gives you a prescription for what, a month, 3 months? How often do you need to go back to the doctor and get checked?
Um, I I think most doctors, you can do it through like an online portal nowadays. So they'll get you
Mhm.
started and they might say, well, we want to see you back in 3 months. Um, so then, then they see you back, but essentially they want to see how things are going for you, how you're reacting with the side effects, that kind of thing. And like if you're not really tolerating the medicine, maybe you just kind of, instead of ramping up the next month, you stay on the same dose, that kind of thing.
Mhm. So it's the
Um,
doctor making the decision whether you go from a 5 milligram dose to a 10 or 15, right? That's not you asking for it, it's the doctor making that decision.
it's, I'll admit, it's a little bit collaborative.
But do you have the feeling if you ask for the 15 milligram, it's because you really want to give it all a boost and it goes quicker? Is there a direct relation with the dosage to the result, or is it a matter of the more you have to lose, the higher you have to your dose? What's the
There's people who are like, maybe 300 pounds or more, where they might actually take two different medications. They might take Wegovy and Mounjaro or something like
okay?
that. Um, and I'm not sure how doctors handle that ramp, that kind of thing. Um, yeah, so Mounjaro is being fast tracked for obesity, for weight loss. But insurance companies still won't cover that.
Mhm.
They'll cover Wegovy, they'll cover Mounjaro, Trulicity, Ozempic. They'll cover all that for type 2 diabetes,
Mhm.
but they won't cover that for obesity. It is expensive if you don't have type 2 diabetes. I don't have type 2 diabetes.
So you have to
Um,
pay it.
but this is important to me. So I could tell you what the cost is generally for these types of drugs is about $1,000 a month,
Mhm.
which is pretty substantial.
Yeah, sure,
But
because it's four
it,
shots.
it's changed my life, and
It's worth
um,
it.
yeah, it's worth it for me. And if I had to change other things with my spending in order to take this, I would do that. And there are some coupons when people are first starting on one of these medications. There's some coupons right now. I don't know if Lilly will continue the practice of discounting, but sometimes I'll go to Costco and they'll say, okay, well, it's $25 this month. I'll be like,
So
okay.
do you expect to be on this medication for the rest of your life, or is there a limit to once you're at your weight, you stop the medication? What's the game plan after?
What the studies show is when people come off the medication, they start to gain the weight back.
Okay.
So my expectation for myself is that I may be on this the rest of my life. Um, and the side effects really aren't that bad. So like I might have bad diarrhea, like that's weird to be talking about this, but
Okay.
like maybe once a month or once every 2 or 3 months, where
Mhm.
it's pretty bad for a few days. And so for me, that's tolerable. I want to be around for my kids. I want to have more energy and feel more athletic, that kind of thing. And for me, it's worth it.
Mm.
I'm also a financial analyst. So I was looking at Lilly as a company and just thinking about this really simplistically, is if Mounjaro offers twice the amount of weight loss, has a very similar side effect profile, and it is a similar cost, uh, I think this could become one of the best selling drugs for Lilly ever.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know, like, I'm not a pharma analyst. I don't analyze stocks in pharma. I don't know when the patent started on Mounjaro. But what Lilly has is unique in this one molecule. It's able to mess with two of the receptors in the body where it basically gives you this biological hack.
Yeah.
um, I think if you look at, okay, well, if insurance isn't going to cover this um, for obesity or weight loss, you look at higher end consumers in the US and Europe and Japan, and Lilly's already started to sell this in Japan, or they have some partnership going in Japan. Um, and regulators are moving quickly in Europe as well. Um, that's going to be where the market is uh, perhaps in the upper class in the developed world, and maybe the upper middle class who's willing to go without, and maybe give some things up with their lifestyle. I don't know what kind of sacrifices
Mm.
people would have to make, but um, there's a lot of stuff online about this drug and a lot of excitement, and I wanted people in my circle and in my community that follow me and all that. I wanted them to know about this. I don't know if Elon has switched to Mounjaro or what. Um,
I mean,
but
he certainly looks lean and in good shape, right? And
yeah,
completely changed of appearance
yeah.
since the spring. Mm.
And most of the heavy lifting for me was with Wegovy, but then I just wanted to go with something better, and it's at the same
Mm.
cost, so I switched to Mounjaro.
And
Um,
your side effects didn't change between one or the other. You had the same
no,
feeling. Okay.
yeah. One other possible outcome would be, like, if I could get really good with um my habits and just get like super clean with my eating, and never change my eating around stress or happiness or sadness or
Mm.
boredom.
Yeah.
If I could get to that place, then potentially I could come off of it. But I'm gonna take the approach of, if the medicines is working,
Don't
keep
change.
keep taking it.
Exactly. The good old Microsoft. It works, don't touch.
Yeah. Coming back to Lilly for a second, yeah, I don't know how to model this, but I feel like um, they could at least double their revenues from this.
Mhm.
And whenever you have leverage in a business, their profits don't just double. The
Sure.
profits could triple or
Exponential. Mm.
quadruple. Um, and maybe there's a potential for even a bigger market for this.
I mean, the price is horrendous, right? I mean,
Yeah,
$250 for 50 milligram dose. I have no clue how much the basic molecule obviously costs, but it just seems good enough to give them a huge margin off it.
yeah, they have a big margin. Yeah, so it's $1,000 a month. Yeah, maybe the first dose is 150 a shot, or 600 for the month. And Lilly in their financials has communicated that they're aggressively expanding the manufacturing, and
Mm.
they just had their quarterly results this morning, and the stock is down because they lowered guidance for the rest of the year. So I think some of their
Reporting.
other businesses off, that kind of thing. But already Mounjaro is 1% of their revenues just in the first quarter.
Wow,
Yeah,
already. Wow.
yeah. And they have some big time drugs already. So and they're committed to scaling the manufacturing. And you and I
Mhm.
know each other because of Tesla, and we know how hard it can be to scale manufacturing. And
Yeah.
I think Lilly's going to be heavily investing in scaling that manufacturing and growing it as quickly as possible. And certainly the growth in it is going to be lumpy, and there'll be people who won't take this because they won't want to do a drug. That there'll be
Mhm.
people who don't want to take a shot, but like you can have someone else give you the shot, that kind of thing.
Wegovy was a shot as well, or
Yes.
was the same system?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just that it only looked after the pancreas and not after the liver. That's the main difference, right?
As I
Between the two.
understand it,
Yeah.
let me switch to something, and I'll show something that Lilly had, um, where it shows the things that their version of it adds. And they don't mention the liver in this page, but I'll share it anyways. So the GLP-1 is the class of drugs that's out already, and the Mounjaro adds the GIP. This might be a little small.
No,
Let's,
no, no. It's well, you can see it's good.
oh, that's not helping. That made it worse. So you can go to Mounjaro.com and click through to get to this page. But basically, the Mounjaro adds these three things, and I think the effect with the liver affects the brain as far as reducing food intake. Um, I had these. Do you like Rice Krispies?
No,
No.
but Rice Krispies is not my problem.
So I recently got some Rice Krispies because we were going to Disney, and Disney has these good Rice Krispie things. And at the store, they have these Rice Krispies that are kind of like homemade. They're still made
Mhm.
by Kellogg's, but they have they're like extra gooey, and they have like more bits of like gooey marshmallow
Sugary.
in it.
Yeah.
And so um, I tried one, and they're only 130 calories.
Mhm.
And normally I could have like three of those.
Mhm.
And I had one, and like after I had the one, it was pretty enjoyable, but like maybe a minute or so later, I was thinking about, my old habits, thinking about having a second one, and then I was just kind of like, maybe not.
Good.
So it's
Good. So
like,
you really, it does retrain you. It
yeah,
gives you this satisfaction moment, and then you don't need to retake. That's
yeah,
crazy. So
yeah.
do you feel any change in attitude in your brain? Does it really, re-educate you?
It it's making it just easier for me over time.
Mm-hmm.
I used to eat a lot when I was thirsty. I know that sounds weird.
No, it's actually very common. Lots of people don't drink enough and they eat to compensate, right?
uh, so it's like
So what are you drinking now? Are you mainly drinking water or still soda or?
water. Yeah, I didn't really drink soda before, but yeah, water is mainly water and coffee. Yeah.
So coffee you can still drink without getting, it doesn't have, the caffeine doesn't have a amplified.
It does, like, it's not ideal for acid reflux, but I'm not
Mhm.
it's not terrible. I normally have like maybe 2 cups a day. So
Yeah, that's not too bad.
if some
Yeah.
people are hardcore and like, I don't know if that's healthy to have 5 cups or more, but like if you're really
Mhm.
going crazy on the coffee, that might be hard. So there's definitely like different considerations.
And is there a change? I'm sorry, I'm so curious, but I just, while I
Yeah.
have you, I'm going there. Is there any change? Like, would you have less um cravings for creamy or for sugary? Is there stuff that you really don't want to see anymore, or is it just that you eat less in quantity?
It hasn't really affected my attitudes toward any food or um, me enjoying things. And just generally, I eat half. Like when in that picture I showed of me at the Riviera last year, um, I was having smoked salmon on a bagel.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I easily had the full thing, which is the whole bagel and a generous portion of smoked salmon and all the extra stuff they bring. This year I only had half of it, and
Mm-hmm.
I took the other half back to the room and had it later in the day. um
So,
it,
and will you then be hungry sooner? Will you be hungry 3 hours later rather than 5 hours later?
not really, but I know I need to eat more often, so I'm kind of training myself to eat more often. So like if I know I'm gonna come home and eat dinner around 5:30, then I'll try and eat around 2:30 or 3, have a
Mm-hmm.
snack at work instead of like waiting till 4 to have some kind of snack or whatever. Before I did this, I would go to the grocery store before I'd come home for dinner, and I would have like a sushi roll at the grocery store, and then I'd come home to dinner and I would have like another meal like right
Mm-hmm.
away. I don't know why I did that, but it's just like something I would do.
And
It's
now you don't anymore,
yeah,
right?
no, I don't
But
anymore.
do you actually think, you saved $1,000 in quantity of food?
I feel like because I tend to eat out when I'm at work, I feel like I might be saving a good $300 a month in
Mm-hmm.
food, if not 500, because I would then go I do that thing after work too. And I'm not drinking as much either,
Mm-hmm. Which
so
is expensive, yeah.
saving on alcohol. And
Your breakfast hour is the same than before, or you wake up earlier to eat?
the same, yeah. And there's times when I first would not have something after 7 p.m. that I'd be starving when I'd wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'd, almost feel a little nauseous, and then I would have something right away. But there's many mornings where I'm not hungry in the morning, but I still will have something in the morning because that's what you're supposed to do. I know
But does the
people
doctor?
disagree on this, but
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure you will have will have it all. But did the doctor tell you to take now, I don't know, 4 or 5 meals a day, or was that your decision?
yeah, that's what they suggested.
What other suggestions did they have?
Um, Anti-acid reflux. So, um, fried foods you want to stay away from.
That's
Um,
easy.
I don't think they say anything about creamy, but you want to encourage you to have healthier fats,
Mhm,
and cream isn't necessarily a healthier fat.
mhm.
Um, so these are things that help with acid reflux. Um, there'll be times where like I might be burpy throughout the day, um, that kind of thing. Um,
How's your sleep? Do you sleep well?
yeah, I'm sleeping better
Good.
generally. Yeah, the drama with Tesla isn't helping my sleep or the markets.
What time, exactly? What time do you wake up to check the price? Oh.
Well, in 2020, it was so exciting what was happening. I actually trained my brain just out of habit to wake up at like 4 a.m. because that's when the European market
Sure.
opens.
Mm.
And watching that, and I know I shouldn't watch it that closely, but that's what I did. And uh, my body is starting to want to do that again, and I just go back to bed now.
Good for you. You're Indiana, right? Am I remember right?
Yeah.
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 See, us in California, me, it's horrible. I wake up at 1 and I wake up automatically as well to check the pre-market at 1 o'clock
Yeah.
Pacific, which is,
Wow.
yeah, exactly. And then I'm going, right? And I do my Wordle and then I do my everything else, my emails, and it's crazy. And at 3 o'clock I go back to bed. But then
Yeah.
that's California. California, we just live at the end of the world. I never understood why California is, so far out of the time zone. But
Mhm.
that's just the way it is.
I
We're
did
at the end of the world.
I did vacation in Hawaii, and one thing I liked about it was you get up at 7 and like most of the news of the day was already out there.
True.
And then I could just like almost look at the news once and then kind of be done with it.
For the day. That's true. That's true. You have a good afternoon. I gotta give you that one. That's true.
One other big thing that's changed for me is I use a CPAP now. So I have sleep apnea. I snore to the point where my airway closes. I stop breathing. And what that does is it deprives oxygen to your organs, which is bad, and that's not a good thing. And that could be why some people wake up in the middle of the night and have to go to the bathroom. Is you might be choking out.
Yeah.
And then what your body does is it sends adrenaline through your body to wake you up.
Yeah.
And
So that
and
you
and
address.
then you need to go to the bathroom from that. Um so getting the CPAP going has definitely helped. It doesn't stop it completely for me. I do have severe sleep apnea. But my sleep apnea has subsided a bit with the weight loss, and I still have about 40 pounds to lose. So I'm curious to see what happens with the sleep apnea
Yes,
then.
especially since you said it's going so steadily down. So 10 months, 50 pounds, probably in another 8 months, you're where you want to be, right? Next
Yeah.
summer.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, wonderful. Congratulations. I'm in admiration how you did that because
Yeah.
it's so visible, but it's also you seem to have really improved your health.
Yeah. I'm incredibly thankful for my doctor, and incredibly thankful for this class of medicine that I could start. And um it's it's not quite a silver bullet. That may be the title of the video. Like,
Yeah.
is Mounjaro a silver bullet? But there are side effects, but it's for me, the benefit far outweighs the costs of it.
It's funny. I was thinking, are you going to say outweigh? Is it appropriate? Outweigh.
What's that?
It's funny that you used outweigh as a word to
Oh.
describe it.
Yeah.
There you go. And I'm very, very happy for you. Probably the most difficult for people who don't have it is finding a doctor who prescribes it. Is it easy to get once you have the prescription? Does the pharmacy have it easily on stock?
Generally, yes. Lilly's aggressively scaling their manufacturing of this, and they're looking to get it in. Sometimes with these drugs, there might be a time where they struggle a bit. So you definitely want to try and pick it up a little early. Don't wait till the last day, that kind of thing. You need a doctor who is responsive, like through your health portal or whatever. And I highly recommend just finding a doctor, period, that is going to spend some time with you, even if you don't struggle with these kind of things. I think it's good to have more relationship with your doctor. Your health is important.
For sure.
We only have one health, right?
Very appropriately said. Yeah, but I'm very happy for you. And Sleep Bradford, I mean, I'm sure lots of people will feel inspired by your journey, and I think you should update us all what happens in the next couple of months. Because I mean, it really doesn't seem as if you have any difficulty sticking to it, right? It just seems to have taken over, and your body is performing the way you want it to be.
Yeah, it's been pretty easy for me in general. There's been some side effects, but it's pretty easy when I'm reflecting on it. And I'm a needle phobe. So
Yeah, and you managed. Yeah.
that
Do
made
you do
me
it? Do you do it yourself?
I had someone help me with that for a while, but now I do it myself.
Well,
And
good.
it was it probably, if someone was watching me do it myself the first few times, it probably looked weird, but now it's not as big of a deal for me. Yeah. So yeah.
And you were able to go on holidays. You were able to go to restaurants. You're just living your life
Yeah.
normally, which is great. So many other types of diets or whatever just don't allow that.
Yeah. And I didn't have to give up anything right away. Even the stuff that's high that can cause acid reflux, you can still have some. You just want to be careful with. You're supposed to refrigerate the medicine, but I think you can take it even if you don't refrigerate it for a month or longer. So I've taken it with me when I've traveled, and where I've had to take it in, in the middle of a vacation, and it's been fine.
Good.
I didn't have any problem with it. There's a little sting with the needles. I'd say half the time, but it's not that bad.
Okay, so I asked the question because I can't live without it. How long do you have to put the needle in? Is it just a quick peek and then it's done, or is it a minute, 5 minutes? How long do you have to press the needle in the belly?
Encourage people to read the directions, but I think it's best to keep it in there for 10 seconds.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah, you press it in pretty good, and you just want to hold it in, and then you press the button to start it, and you just hold it in there. And I think
And do
it's
you
done with,
always do it on the same side, or do you change sides, or is
you're
there
supposed to
no
rotate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will know everything about it at the end
Yeah.
of this video.
I think there's been times where I've injected the same spot, but I'm still here
No
today.
reaction.
So
Okay. Good. Good, good,
yeah.
good. So anybody who takes that has to write you a tweet, right? And make sure that you know about it.
Yeah, I'm curious if there's other people taking Wegovy or Ozempic or Mounjaro, whatever else is out there. Yeah, I'm curious what experience they have. The medicine doesn't work for everybody. People may not experience as much weight loss. Before I started, I was probably 90 to 100 pounds overweight. So I have more to go. I'm a male. I'm generally going to lose weight faster, but
Yeah.
most of the way I've been doing exercise where I either lifted weights for 3 times a week, or I've tried to do some running outside, or I'm now doing the Orange Theory Fitness. Yeah. Yeah, definitely want to hear about it. And that's why I'm sharing this is it's been good for me, and I don't want to keep it a secret.
Well, thank you very much. And it's very courageous because people don't like to have this public, and I think you're very good in doing that. Thank you.
Yeah. And thanks for doing this with me and asking the questions.
It's been a pleasure.
All right. Well, she is Alexandra Mers, Tesla Boomer Mama on Twitter. You should follow her for great insights around ESG scores, credit rating, buyback on Tesla, lot of good stuff.
Thank you.
And a really good thinker on Tesla, and just someone who's been a very, very supportive of the community as well. And I do enjoy your content. All the videos you do with Farzad, those are fun too. And Gary.
And Gary, and making fun of Earl.
Yeah.
Makes me super follow him.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Bradford. And I hope you give us an update as soon as you get to your next milestones.
All right. Well, it's good to chat with you, and I'll say bye for now.
Bye bye. This was great. Thank you very much.
Yeah.